Hey everyone, it's John from Ride Upstate. I actually wasn't planning to make any full-length videos this week, but there's been a lot of news in the gig economy, um, specifically around DoorDash and Para. If you haven't heard yet, Para received a cease and desist letter this week, and they have basically shut down their app until August 9th. They made an announcement on their Facebook page, and they actually recently just sent out an email this morning that had some frequently asked questions about this situation. So I want to read this email, go over the frequently asked questions, and provide a little bit of commentary. Now, as you all know, I was a promoter of Para for quite some time. And in fact, I had an affiliate link with Para. And even after they stopped providing the affiliate links, I told them that I was going to continue to promote their product and promote Para because I believed in the idea of tip transparency for all platforms and full transparency on all of these platforms. And I was happy to continue supporting them. I supported them before I was provided an affiliate link, and I will continue to support them. Unlike some other YouTubers who apparently are just going to promote products that they can make money off of. Anyway, I'm going to read this and go through the Q&A and offer a little bit of commentary. I apologize if I'm looking down a little bit because that's where we are. That's the way all this garbage works. You can't really look straight into the camera and read at the same time. So, dear Para community, we were disappointed to receive a cease and desist demand letter from DoorDash because we believe that drivers deserve pay transparency and should have access to all the data that relates to their earnings. In our view, it's simple. Drivers should know what they're going to be paid before they do the work. We have decided to pause service so that we can discuss with DoorDash whether there is a mutually agreeable path forward to ensure Dashers get transparency. In the past, DoorDash has expressed a commitment to ensuring that drivers have the tools and resources that they need to succeed, so we will engage in good faith in this effort to find a solution. We apologize to our loyal community for the disruption in service and will remain focused on serving your needs. We are committed to developing tools that provide gig workers like other independent contractors with the transparency and autonomy you need to make informed decisions about your work and livelihood. As always, we welcome any questions or concerns, as well as your ideas on how Para can better support you and continue to improve gig work. Please share your thoughts with us on our Facebook page or via email tt@withpara.com. David and the Para team. So originally, when they made the announcement on Facebook, they said there was a video upcoming. I think David is pretty uncomfortable on camera, and so I can understand why he didn't want to put out a video. It takes time to get comfortable on camera, but I think this email is very succinct. It gets to the point and is very clear. There's been a lot of speculation around this. I think Valdestat's voice mentioned that Para was sued. And, I commented that, well, no, they weren't sued. They got a cease and desist letter. And then he responded back and correctly, well, that's usually one step before filing a lawsuit. And I agree with that. However, what tends to happen in situations like this is companies that feel like they have had a violation will issue a cease and desist letter first, because if they go straight to the lawsuit, they actually run the risk of not being able to collect the data that they need and the information that they need in order to prosecute. Right now, you're not just going to get a letter from someone saying, hey, we're going to sue you because of XYZ. That happened in the past. You may recall, if any of you are old school Napster people, a number of people were sued, and the record labels did not actually get very much of the money that they were seeking because of the way they went about it. They were too aggressive, and that has led companies that feel like their rights have been violated to kind of go a slower route to show intent of the other party to continue to violate terms and services and things like that. In the long run, actually, in the beginning of all this, if you saw a number of interviews with David and other para team members, they said, we don't think drivers are going to get deactivated. If anything, they will come after us. And at first they did that by changing the information that they send, which caused para to respond and try and find other data and speculate and give you an estimate on what they think the full payout would be. And then now it's a cease and desist letter, because so DoorDash makes a change. They wait for para to respond and continue to attempt and get that data. And then they say, aha, we have intent now. Here's our evidence. We'll send a cease and desist. And if they continue, then the legal eagles get after them. That being said, let's go into the kind of Q&A here. So there's another section of this email. What's happening? Why is the service being paused for a week? And they have a few points here. After receiving a cease and desist letter from DoorDash, we decided to pause our services while we talked to DoorDash about para's access to their platform. We believe that drivers deserve pay transparency and should have access to all the data that relates to their earnings. In our view, it's simple. Drivers should know what they're going to be paid before they do the work. While we disagree with DoorDash's legal position, in response, we have decided to pause service so that we can discuss with DoorDash whether there is a mutually agreeable path forward to help Dashers. In the past, DoorDash has expressed a commitment to ensuring that drivers have the tools and resources they need to succeed, so we will engage in good faith in this effort to find a solution. A couple of points here. Uber Eats hides tips, not as much of the tip as DoorDash does. Grubhub hides distances. So all of these platforms don't give us all the information about a trip. And that's important because we're independent contractors and we deserve to have all the information available to us in order to make a decision about a contract that we want to enter. Now, some people have brought up that during DoorDash's IPO, they said, oh, here's all the information that we provide to drivers. Well, the thing that you're not realizing is that when you signed that agreement, you also agreed to have the terms changed at any time by DoorDash. That's in all of these agreements. We can change the terms of this agreement at any time. And you agree to that. So in their initial IPO, they said, hey, look at all this stuff that we provide to the drivers. And then once they got their money, what do? They started gaming the system. I think Hannibal is hungry. He says it's Tony's Casino, right? You're pulling the slot to see if you're going to get that unicorn order. So this idea that, oh, they're not even doing what their initial IPO said, it really has no bearing. That was the case during the initial IPO, and they have since changed the terms, which you agree to every time that you log on to the app for, essentially. Okay, next question. Why is DoorDash doing this? Why does DoorDash feel the need to do this? That's a question for DoorDash. They want to protect their intellectual property. That's basically what it comes down to. That's what I would surmise, but I don't want to speak for Para or for DoorDash. Why should I keep the app? We have more features coming. Para's mission has always been to develop tools to help you make informed decisions about your work and livelihood. We are proud that tip transparency helps so many Dashers, and we will continue to push for transparency on the platforms you work on. But transparency alone isn't enough. We hope for your continued support of our movement to build a better, work-focused gig economy. Worker-focused gig economy. That's important, right? Right now, all of the gig platforms are focused on the platforms, getting to an IPO, and making as much money as possible for the stockholders. They're not focused on the worker. In fact, most companies are not focused on the worker. So, that's just the way it's going to be for a long time. And it's going to be difficult. There are a few like little niches here and there where the worker is valued rather than just looked at as a commodity. But they're few and far between. And then the final question is, when are these talks with DoorDash supposed to happen? Will you keep us updated? And the response is, we've asked to meet with DoorDash by Monday, August 9th, in our response to them. We will keep the community updated as we learn more. Now, August 9th is a Monday. It's now Thursday the 5th as I record this. I sure hope, if they're sending out this email today, I have a feeling that DoorDash is not going to meet with them. I think DoorDash is going to wait to see if Para turns on their services again. Now, let me finish up before I continue to speculate. Thank you for your continued support. We will have more updates for you later this week. Now, there are a number of apps out there. Gridwise. Gridwise is one that comes to mind, and there's a couple others out there, QuickBooks I think as well, that will pull in your earnings from a platform. Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, whatever. And use that to show how much you're earning, how much you're making per hour. I honestly believe DoorDash doesn't have a problem with that. I don't think any of these companies have a problem with that. So what would I do if I were in Para's situation? I would be providing an alternate version of this app so that if on August 9th they don't respond, the only thing that we do with DoorDash is pull in that earnings data because they don't have a problem. They don't appear to have a problem with that. I have not seen them go after Gridwise. I haven't seen them go after QuickBooks or any of these other companies that pull in this information. So they're not really these apps aren't really that concerned with getting static data. What they don't want you doing is messing with the way that they make money, right? They don't want you messing with the way they make money. And the way they make money is by hiding critical pieces of information in order to get people to get this endorphin rush. Because, oh, look, I took this $7 order and it actually ended up being $13. Wow! It's like hitting the lottery. It's like a scratch off, right? Got my little scratch off here. That's what they're trying to do. That's honestly what they're trying to do. And Hannibal said it. It's Tony's Casino. Now, something, and I want to comment on this. I know this video is super, super long. I don't normally make videos this long, but I want to comment on something that I have been seeing in forums, on Facebook, and even now, I think DoorDash Dad did this as well. I don't know if he did it. I just saw that he made a video about it, so I'm not 100%. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know if he did it yet. But we're starting to see drivers call support to find out what the full payout is on a trip. Now, I know in the past, I made a phone call to DoorDash support to ask about Para. And looking back on it, although I think it made a great video, and I think a lot of people supported me doing that, it did put out a little bit of information out, a little misinformation out there, and I think that's probably my fault. And, well, it is my fault. And I think another thing that it did is it caused other people to start calling DoorDash. DoorDash was already aware of Para, but I think what happened is it kind of pushed it up as more people started calling about this app. Steve from Para actually came on and said, look, we don't want people calling DoorDash. The video was great. We like what John did, but we don't want a bunch of people calling DoorDash about the app because it's just going to clog up support. And now we've got drivers doing that with tips. They're calling and asking for the full payout on a trip. Please, people. Now, disclaimer, I rarely do DoorDash now because the offers in my area are garbage. I was out this morning taking a kid to work, and I just fired the app on and got 3 garbage orders and said, forget it. I'm going to see, maybe stay out half an hour, 45 minutes, see if I get a good order. Nothing. I got nothing. It was garbage. And usually the mornings are pretty good. And even in the evenings when I've done it. But the main reason is the whole insurance thing. I mentioned that in a previous video because I'm not covered. If I get in an accident while I'm doing DoorDash, I'm not covered by my insurance, and DoorDash isn't going to cover me either. There's plenty of evidence about that. You can go and see what happens to people when they get in accidents while doing food delivery. So that disclaimer that's out there for the people who are active. I really think it's important that people minimize the number of calls that they make to support about the full payout. I understand you want that information. And I understand the idea of putting pressure on DoorDash to provide that information because Para can't provide it anymore. I totally get that. Yes, we need to put pressure on DoorDash, but I don't think clogging up the support lines for people who actually need support for technical support is a good idea. I mean, let's face it. If we wanted to, even if just 10% of the people who used Para for tip transparency called support every time for every order, they would not be able to handle that flood of phone calls. And that means people who are legitimately having problems with the app or who are dealing with a situation that's outside the norm. Someone calls them and gives them, they say, oh, I want it delivered, to location B instead of the location that's in the app. They can't get through to support to handle that, or if the store is closed or whatever. So please, I get it, but I think for the people out there who are doing this regularly, it's going to cause more problems for Dashers than it will for DoorDash, because DoorDash can just spin up another call center in the Philippines or in India or wherever their call centers are. It's not a big deal. They can spin that up and they can spin it down once the demand goes down. So my advice to you, if you want to do it, if my suggestion would be is if you're at a restaurant and you've waited for 10 minutes and it doesn't look like that order is going to be ready, then I would call support and say, look, I took this order. It said it was for $8. I've been here for 10 minutes. They say it's going to be another 10 or 15 minutes for the order. I just want to make sure that this is worth my time. In that instance, I would say, but for every single order, no. You took that $8 order for 1.5 miles, thinking that's a good dollar to miles ratio. That's a good time earnings. So once you get outside of that, I think once you get outside of what you would call normal, that's when you should do it, when you should make the call. But for every order, no. And I'm seeing that on a lot of different places on Facebook where drivers are doing that. Every single order, they're calling DoorDash support to find out the full payout. That's just going to clog up technical support for people who actually need technical support. So please don't do that. This is my plea. I'm voicing what many other Dashers have said who do this regularly. Support's already a pain in the butt to get a hold of sometimes, especially someone who knows what they're doing. So don't do that. All right, that's all I got. This is getting close to 20 minutes. Probably once I edit it down, it'll be less than that, but still, that's too long of a video because now I got to spend time editing it, right? So until next time, my name is John from Ride Upstate, reminding you that just because you're in a small market, it doesn't mean you need to settle for small profits. Bye. Oh, and comment below. Let me know what you think. Keep it cordial. If you're a jerk, I will block you. Bye.